So this month we're focusing our videos on ways that you can improve your longevity, your lifespan, how long you live, your health span, the quality of those years. And I want to take a little departure from our typical video format and go over a personal story and my personal experience over the last year on ways that things that I've done to help improve that. And unfortunately, it took a tragic loss to advocate for myself to make sure that I'm gonna hopefully live a long time. And if me sharing this story reaches someone who needs to hear this and then goes out and gets checked for what they need to address, then it'll make all this worth it and it'll just bring me a ton of joy. So a couple years ago, I read Peter Attia's book, Outlive, and I love that book, and it kind of sparked this interest in me to start addressing some of these health issues that are prevalent in my family. So we have a very strong history of cardiovascular disease in my family. My paternal grandfather died, well, he had a couple heart attacks throughout his life. He died in his 80s, but had a couple heart attacks. And then my paternal uncle died in his 50s due to a cardiovascular incident as well. So this has been on my mind. And I would go in the doctor's office, I would go to my primary care and they'd check my blood pressure and it'd be elevated. I mean, it could be 135/95. And they would always kind of make like the little side joke saying, oh, a little white coat syndrome there, huh? And no, I don't have white coat syndrome, but it would be brushed off, and I wouldn't really think about it. It'd be a little concerning, but I wouldn't think about it too much. Well, then I read Peter Attia's book, and he's talking about cardiovascular health, and he mentioned some different things that you can measure to take a deeper dive into that. So I went to my primary care physician and said, I want to get these other tests done beyond the typical blood panel. That typical blood panel, you're going to get your total cholesterol, you'll get your triglycerides, your A1C, some of these things. But I wanted to get a couple other ones done. One being ApoB, which is a better marker for overall cholesterol and cardiovascular health. And then your Lp(a), which is a genetic factor for cardiovascular health. So I got those measured, and the results came back, and the ApoB was elevated, and the Lp(a) was very elevated. So that was concerning. And my physician wrote back and said, yeah, these are a little elevated, but eat a heart-healthy diet and continue to exercise. And I mean, I hate that advice. I love that advice, but that's not really advice. It's not telling you to do anything. I'm already eating a very healthy diet. I'm already exercising a lot. So what am I going to do at this point to decrease those markers? So I wrote back and I said, look, I'd like to get a CT cardiac score. So that's where they do a CT scan of your heart and they measure how many hard plaques that you have in your heart. So I thought this would be a good idea. So he agreed that we'd do this scan. So we did the scan and the score came back 0. So that's perfect. No hard plaques in my heart, which was great. And he responded back and said, good, score is 0, eat a heart-healthy diet, continue to exercise. So I was like, all right, well, those blood markers aren't great, but at least I don't have any plaque. So I kind of put it on the back burner. And it was just 3 months after that my dad died of a heart attack while exercising. He was riding his bike and died of a heart attack. And it just shattered our worlds. It was just the worst thing. He was very healthy and just the best human being that there could be. And it deep down, it also really scared me that I could be looking at that future, giving his father history of heart attacks, his brother heart attack, and now himself. And where does that leave me? So I wasn't getting the answers from my own physician. So I was lucky enough and privileged enough to know somebody, a good friend of mine, who's very connected in healthcare and referred me to a preventative cardiologist in Denver. So I reached out to them. They had me get some blood work done. And I flew out to Denver for this cardiologist appointment. And I was at the appointment from 8 a.m. in the morning until 4 p.m. in the afternoon, where they took me through a barrage of tests. They not only measured my blood pressure once, but they measured it probably a dozen times under different situations, under cognitive stress, under physical stress. In fact, a normal blood pressure is 120 over 80. That 120 is your systolic blood pressure, the one on top. When they put me on the treadmill stress test and had me almost max out on the treadmill, my systolic blood pressure, which should be 120 at resting, was above 250. So it shot up. And that's concerning because I do high intensity cardiovascular exercise every week. So that is at least once a week that my blood pressure is above 250 and putting that kind of stress on my arterial walls. So super concerning, and more than just white coat syndrome when I'm going to the doctor, right? So they measured my blood pressure. They said the CT cardiac score that I got was good, but it doesn't show the whole picture. It just shows hard plaques. What we really want to see, especially early on, is soft plaques. So they took me through another CT scan that actually measured the soft plaques, and that CT scan is called a Clearly. I'll put all the resources below so that you can reference this yourself, but it was called a Clearly scan. And that measured the soft plaques. And they found that some of the arteries in my heart are 7% occluded with soft plaque. So that's not that much, but it's something, and traditional medicine won't really do anything until you're about 50% occluded, which is crazy. At that point, it's hard to do a whole lot of reversal. But when it's early on and it's soft plaque, you can reverse that soft plaque. You can't really reverse the heart. So they not only check my heart, they check my carotid arteries. They check the arteries and vasculature in my legs too with ultrasound. Extremely extensive. And they did some of these blood tests as well. They were not happy with my ApoB. They were not happy with my Lp(a). They looked at my full picture and they said, that I am eating very healthy. Okay, and I am exercising a great amount. So if there was anything lifestyle-wise that I'm gonna do, it's really not gonna move the needle too much for these markers. We need to intervene with medication. So a lot of people in the health and wellness world, to them, the term statin is a bad word. But when there's nowhere else to go, a statin can be a lifesaver for me. So I was put on a statin, I was put on blood pressure medication, and then I was put on another medication called Repatha, which has been shown to decrease your ApoB and potentially decrease your Lp(a), which at one point was not, we didn't think we could actually change that at all in anybody. It was just a genetic marker. So that was extremely reassuring that we're going to be able to lower these things. And I was always, once all this happened, I love running. It's my outlet. I asked the cardiologist, I said, listen, I love running, but I'm nervous to do it. I don't want to be out on a run and something to happen and not be there for my kids or something like that. So I'm nervous. And he said, well, once you start taking this medication, you have nothing to be nervous about. We're gonna get your levels in check and we're gonna monitor this closer than it could ever be monitored. And it just provided this world of reassurance for me that I'm actually getting the care that I need, and we're attacking this correctly. So on top of all that, there's still some lifestyle things that I'm working on. Sauna has been shown to decrease blood pressure, has been shown to improve cardiovascular health. So I've been doing sauna 2 to 3 times a week and continuing with those healthy lifestyle factors. So this was an incredible eye-opener for me, and it was sad that I had to go through what I went through to actually find the proper care. So, heart disease starts in your 30s, but doesn't manifest until you're in your 50s or 60s. So please, 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 if you are, especially if you're a male in your 30s or 40s with a family history of heart disease, we need to be our own advocates and really push for this type of care. And if I'm not saying medication is going to be the answer for everybody. Oftentimes people need to address these lifestyle factors, and we have videos this month going out talking about some of those lifestyle factors. So address those lifestyle factors for sure. But there's a number of us out there that are very fit and doing all the right things, but we could have a ticking time bomb in our body if we don't take the right steps. Okay, so if this video was helpful, I hope it was. Feel free to reach out to me if you need some of these resources. I want to make myself available, because if I can help one person avoid going through what I went through or putting their family through anything, then it would just bring me a world of joy. So please do reach out. Hope this video was helpful, and thank you.